It's the story no one thought would ever resurface, the kind that hides behind red carpets, smiles, and Hollywood's polished perfection. Denise Richards, once the picture of grace and strength, now finds herself in the center of a storm that has shaken even her closest friends to their core. What started as a glamorous love story between Denise and Aaron Phypers, a bond that once seemed spiritual, almost destined, has turned into one of the most emotional courtroom dramas the entertainment world has seen in years. Beneath the surface of Hollywood fame, behind the cameras and glossy interviews, there was a quiet fear, a whispered pain, and now, the truth is coming out piece by piece. The courtroom has become the stage no actor ever wants to stand on, and as Denise's cousin took the virtual stand, the world watched in disbelief. Kathleen McAllister, someone who had been part of both their personal and professional lives, finally spoke up, confirming what many feared but few dared to say. Her words echoed through the hearing room, a chilling recollection of moments that changed everything. She claimed to have seen the unthinkable, a side of Aaron that the public never knew. As she spoke, her voice trembled not just with sadness, but with the weight of years spent holding back secrets. To her, this wasn't gossip or speculation, it was survival. And as she described that day in January 2022, when she said she saw Denise injured and in shock, the courtroom fell silent. Everyone listened as she recounted the moment that still haunts her to this day. "I'm literally in shock now," she said, her words heavy with disbelief. For Denise, this testimony wasn't just another chapter in a messy divorce, it was validation, a piece of the puzzle that finally aligned with what she had tried to tell the court all along. But for Aaron, these claims were nothing short of devastating. He had denied every accusation, calling them false and deeply hurtful, insisting that he was being painted as someone he's not. Yet, as the testimonies continued, more layers began to unfold, and what came next made the case impossible to ignore. Kathleen wasn't just a family member, she had worked with Aaron closely in his Malibu Wellness Center for years. She had seen him on his best days and his worst, in private moments far from the red carpets and photographers. That's what made her words so powerful, she wasn't speaking as an outsider. She was there. She saw the changes, the tension, and the breakdown of what once looked like a perfect marriage. According to her, things started spiraling long before the public had any idea. There were fights, long nights of shouting, and a growing sense of fear that became impossible to hide. It wasn't just Denise who felt it, Kathleen said she did too. The situation had become so volatile that she admitted being afraid for her life, afraid that if she spoke, there would be consequences. Even her appearance in court came with anxiety so deep that she asked for her name not to appear on any public list. Her lawyer revealed that she was terrified of being recognized or targeted for speaking up. That revelation alone says a lot about the kind of fear surrounding this case. Denise, known for her composure and strength, had stayed mostly quiet in public. She didn't make grand statements or social media rants. Instead, she took her fears to the legal system, quietly filing for protection after Aaron filed for divorce in July. The temporary restraining order she obtained was a legal shield, but emotionally, she was still standing in the crossfire of love turned dangerous. The courtroom scene was tense, you could almost feel the weight of years of emotional strain hanging in the air. Kathleen described the 2022 period as a time of escalating chaos, where emotions ran high and tempers flared more often than not. But what stunned everyone was her account of repeated threats. She said both she and Denise were terrified, that Aaron's words had turned from anger into intimidation. "We both were," she told the judge, her voice breaking. "He threatened to kill us." The air in the courtroom thickened. Reporters who had covered dozens of celebrity trials before said they had never seen Denise look so visibly shaken. She didn't speak, but her eyes told a story, one of fear, exhaustion, and relief that someone else was finally saying the words out loud. The judge listened intently, taking notes, while Aaron's legal team remained stone-faced. There were murmurs across the virtual courtroom, gasps even, as Kathleen's recollections became more detailed. And yet, despite the horror of it all, she spoke with a calmness that comes only from having lived through something real. She wasn't dramatizing. She wasn't exaggerating. She was remembering. She told the court about the patterns she'd witnessed, how moments of kindness were followed by days of tension, how arguments started over small things and spiraled into full-blown confrontations. She spoke about alcohol, too, saying it seemed to play a big role in those dark moments. Her exact words were haunting. Aaron was what anyone would refer to as an alcoholic, and that fueled the aggression. Those words struck hard, painting a picture of a household where love had turned to volatility and control. But this wasn't just a story about two people, it was about what happens when silence becomes too heavy to carry. Denise's cousin wasn't just fighting for her, she was fighting for herself too. He would say that if we told anyone, he'd kill us all, she said, her voice cracking under the memory. As the abuse escalated through the years, he exploited our empathy. That sentence alone felt like a movie line, except this wasn't fiction. This was real life. It revealed a manipulative cycle that trapped them both in fear and guilt, where love was twisted into something unrecognizable. By now, the public was watching closely. The headlines spread across social media like wildfire, and fans who had adored Denise for decades were sending her messages of love and support. She didn't respond publicly, but sources close to her said she felt both relieved and terrified, relieved that the truth was finally out, and terrified of what could come next. Meanwhile, Aaron remained silent, his team insisting that all allegations were lies meant to tarnish his reputation. It's a battle of words, truth versus denial, pain versus pride, and every new court date feels like peeling another layer off a wound that refuses to heal. Through it all, one thing remains constant: Denise's resilience. After decades in Hollywood, where image is everything, she's showing the world what real strength looks like, standing up, even when your heart is breaking. But this case isn't over. The hearings are expected to continue through October, with both Denise and Aaron expected to appear again. As each day unfolds, new witnesses could come forward, and more truths could surface. This isn't just about fame anymore. It's about safety, healing, and the courage it takes to speak when your voice has been silenced for too long. The courtroom battle may decide legal outcomes, but for Denise, the real victory lies in reclaiming her peace. And while Hollywood continues to buzz with rumors and speculation, one thing's for certain: this story is far from over. What started as love has become a haunting lesson about power, control, and the cost of silence in a world where everything looks perfect until the mask finally slips.